Okay, how do you move on after a breakup? You guys have been asking me about this for a very long time. The answer is you get some hoes. And look, I'm telling you, I'm so mad that I waited until after I broke up with my girl to make this video because I don't want this to sound like just like post-breakup guy jargon. I've always insisted that you must involve yourself with other people in order to move on, but it is more nuanced than that, okay? And I won't cover that in this video. Oh my gosh, I just took a caffeine pill. Now I'm feeling strange. Dude, they put something in that. I don't know what though. But anyways, people always say, oh, you need time alone, time by yourself. You literally don't. Because mind you, you're going to have time by yourself at some point when you break up with somebody. It's very simple. Like I broke up with my ex. There is no amount of hoes that I can get that's going to stop me from being alone at some point in time. Like right now, I'm alone. I'm recording this video, waking up alone, okay? Not really having anybody that it's my duty to text them or like update them on what's going on with me. Like naturally that processing, that coping, even though that word's been bastardized by the media, it's going to take place. It's going to happen eventually, no matter what. Again, at some point, it's going to be you and yourself in your thoughts on that relationship, how it went. Oh, could it have gone better? Oh, should I slide back? These thoughts always happen no matter how good or bad the relationship was. There's people that I literally never want to see again, but the second I cut them off, I was like, like what's going on there? Because you just think and you process. When you're removed from the scenario, you're like, okay, now that I can kind of see it more objectively because I'm no longer in it, like third party perspective, how is this looking, right? Like those thoughts are always going to happen. But what you can control is whether those thoughts are consuming you of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was like, because that's another thing right there. The thought of, oh my gosh, I just can't believe it was so bad. You know what I mean? Or, oh, it was so good at first, but then. You don't want those thoughts to consume you. And that's something you can control. You can control those by bringing the hose around. I'm telling you, most recent ex, broke up with her. I was out that night, okay, handling business. Ex before that, I was out that night handling business. Ex before that, I was out the day before handling business. Now, mind you, I didn't cheat. Me and that woman weren't monogamous, but me doing that helps me greatly. Now, personally, I've never had a challenge of being attracted to someone new after a relationship. I feel like it's pretty simple. I can kind of just put myself out there. There are attractive people. Like there are some people where they're like, oh, I can't see anybody else. Like, nah, like I definitely can. Thought I paused. But if you are one of those people where it's hard for you to find someone attractive after a relationship for some reason, I really don't understand you. But if it is, just find someone who's objectively on the more attractive side. Handle business. Like it's very simple. Because I'm telling you, that feeling is gonna fade. Okay, I used to be that kind of person. Like when I was in high school having my little heartbreaks, I'd be like, oh no, I'm never gonna find someone more attractive than this person. I'm never gonna find someone I like more. And guess what? It always happens. Okay, we only move upward around here on the BRS channel. Bro, this girl texted me, bro. She got some good energy, bro. I like her. She's got passion. I'm gonna tell you about it later. Like one of the first things she said to me is, she's Persian, right? She said, you know what they say? Once you go Persian, there's no other version. Like you're completely stuck. And when I tell you, that shit was so funny to me. I'm not gonna lie. Usually I find humor unattractive, but something like that, it worked for me. And also, like, let me find out about the Persians, bro. Let me see the way. She might be kind of insane though, but I like it. Okay, I like the energy. Anyways, point is, again, involve yourself with somebody else, right? You're going to find someone more attractive eventually. Like nobody, like we are not designed to just sit here and find one person the most attractive all the time. Okay, it's a very fluid concept. And when you involve yourself with that new person, it helps you get out of that one track mind. And that's the thing about relationships. Okay, it's good when you're monogamous with someone to have a one track mind for this person, but when they're gone, definitely you shouldn't have that. Like I'm not gonna lie, 80% of your fear of being like, oh my gosh, no one's gonna be more attractive than this person is the fact that like you were telling yourself that this person was the only person you could be attracted to. Truly. But like there are women I've dated where I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like the most beautiful person ever. And I believed it when I said it because I was telling myself to believe that, which is fine, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. But then it's like you break up, you move on, and it's like, okay, there is more out here, just in an objective sense. You want to jumpstart that realization by talking to more people, getting more hoes. If you don't want to sleep with them, you don't have to sleep with them necessarily. But retrain your body, retrain your brain that other people are okay. And I'll share my experience. I've told y'all before the situation with girl number 0. Okay, long story. But basically, me and her, we were fighting a lot. Things were on the outs, right? But me, I'm also very much, because I feel like you're gonna think like, oh my gosh, you're just some heartless man. No, I'm so attached. I be in it to win it. I hate letting things go. Okay, it's my least favorite thing to do. Okay, however, me and this woman, we were long for naught. Okay, it clearly was not going to work. Even if in my little delusional mind, I didn't want to believe that. You know what I did? I scheduled 2 dates in one day. Okay, and the first date was lovely. Me and this young lady were just like vibing, talking a lot. She got me, it was Chipotle, matcha, and then I think there was like something else. It was oh yeah, and she got me a shirt, very cool. And then that evening, me and this young lady went out to a bar for drinks. The thing is, me and her, we were not vibing. We were vibing, but we weren't vibing. Like there was definitely a lot of silence, okay, but the vibes were there. And then she wanted to get active. So then we went to the place I was staying, and we got active. Oh my gosh, dude! Oh my gosh, I can tell the story. Thank God. Okay, basically, me and her went to the crib, which was my friend's crib at the time. He had this little, it was like a suite, and he had roommates, okay? And one of his roommates, I'm so sorry, bro, if he somehow sees this, I feel so bad. One of his roommates had this couch that he was like really into, very nice leather. And, me and the young lady came up, we were vibing for a bit. Remember, we're a little sauce too. And then, one thing leads to another. We start the outer course, kissing, whatnot, grabbing. And then next thing you know, we're getting down and dirty, straight up. So I'm going to, oh, yes. I'm going to town, right? And then next thing I know, I'm seeing a bunch of blood, like in the area. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're like, oh, I know that's not what I think it is. But I didn't say anything, okay? I didn't want to kill the vibe. Plus, I'm a trooper. I don't really care about blood or anything like that. And I think we switched positions or something. And then she noticed it. And she was like, oh, I forgot how it came out. But she was like, yeah, I think you tore my cervix. But like, keep going though. And I was very confused by that. And I've mentioned before about me tearing cervixes, right? But basically, the cervix I tore before that one, I remember she was in like excruciating pain, like she couldn't go. And since then, when I've torn a cervix, it's also been a situation where there seems to be more like unease. Oh, we were a bit sauce though. Maybe the alcohol helped. Like, my point was basically, I was like, bro, like if it was a cervix tear, and she can just like keep going, bro. That's kind of crazy. Like my theory, I wondered if it was like her time of the month and she just like capped about it. But my thing is, if it was your time of the month, why would you cap about it? Like I feel like it's not that. I feel like it's like I already see the blood. Like I wouldn't really care. But anyways, I slept with her, got blood all over the couch. When I tell you, it was a problem. I had to go down to my friend and I was like, please, do you have anything I can clean the couch with? There's blood on it. And he walked upstairs and he saw it because she had left by this point. And he was like, oh, God. And I was like, yeah. And then we cleaned the blood off the couch. Okay. Brett, tell me why there's a girl I'm talking to. Me and her haven't met in person yet. And like, I'm looking at her pictures. Half the time she's so bad. Half the other time she's not that bad. And I don't know what to do. And the things I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, like look for videos. The videos are hit and miss too. But I can't tell. Like, what does she look like? But anyways, okay, after the whole, cleaning off the blood situation, I was like, bro, this is a really good day. Because the thing is, I went to town, I did my thing, I handled business. I was like, this is great. And I remember she texted me after, and she said that dick was fire. And I was like, yes. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what I do it for. I forgot. She sent it in like a disappearing message. I'm like, yeah. Oh, because she was cheating. She was married. She was cheating on her husband as well. I forgot to mention that. Like, I think the story is she married him to get a visa, but he didn't know that was why, or something like that. And I don't know. That's what she told me. But like, I felt like I kept kind of hearing like mixed things about her and her husband. Yeah. Regardless, I was like, this is a great night. Okay. Slept with that man's wife. Did a good job. Earlier, I had this date. She did very kind gestures for me. I don't need this bullshit relationship that I'm in right now. You know what I mean? Non-monogamous relationship. I did not cheat. So yeah, I was like, yeah, it's crazy. I definitely don't need that. So then next time she did some bullshit, I was like, okay, fuck you. Like you're blocked. You're done. You're off the list. And that's why I say something like monogamy is a because and mind you, like right after that breakup, I was done. Like so when we talk about moving on, there was almost like no feelings there entirely. Sure, maybe I was upset about the situation, but it was never like anything that would like when I mentioned earlier like you think about splitting the block, you think about it but you don't actually think about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, what would it look like if I did? But I was so beyond all that because now I have these new women on the roster. Okay, I'm hanging out with them, linking up, doing different stuff. I'm distracted. So by the time I think about that situation with Shorty, it's like month 2 months after I already ghosted her. So then by that point, it's so long ago, it's not a thing where I'm like, oh my gosh, did I do the right thing? Like this situation, da 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 da. It's more so, oh wow, that happened. It's done now. So you see what I mean? You move on eventually. So it's like you're breaking down the relationship in your head and you're not having to break it down. Yes, this is a separate day. I'm not gonna lie, this might be a week later. But it's like you get to pair the fact that, like, okay, yes, this relationship happened. Yes, maybe I had feelings for this person, with the fact that you've moved on, that you've done other things, that you have other, like by the time I think about my past relationship, I always have new relationship shit to worry about. Again, with girl number 0, things ended there. And then by the time I was thinking about, like, man, like how did things end between me and her? I was already in a situation where I'm like, okay, I'm with this woman who's completely crazy trying to see me all the time. And the thing is, if you're fortunate, sometimes you do like that person more. And then next breakup I go through, I was literally staying with a girl I was dating at the time. So like I was thinking about it, but then I'm like, I'm literally waking up to this other woman every day. And then that woman was mad at me because it was the whole how I ruined two women's perception of love incident. Basically, she was always mad because I was talking to the other young lady. So I had different problems. I had different shit. Okay. And then once that ended, I was in a situation where I got into a relationship like 2 weeks later. And then she was still pissed about me for leaving her the first time. So you see what I mean? It's like you're introducing new problems. And then, and then now this cycle, I'm in different situations with different people. Thankfully for me, it's less tumultuous. Like there's not as much drama. You know what I mean? Like that one girl ghosted me because I slept in too late, That one girl from the other day pooped on me, right? And I don't know if I got pooped on, bro. It was horrible. But you know what I mean? So it's like when my mind goes back and thinks about, like, man, my past relationships, I have different stuff to worry about. There's this young lady who she's plotting on my meat. I could tell she wants it. You know what I mean? I don't know if I want to give her what she wants or not give her what she wants. Okay. There's a couple other young ladies I'm excited about linking up with, and the roster's activated is basically what I'm saying. And that's why I honestly would say having a roster is better than getting in like a rebound relationship. Like I don't really recommend a rebound relationship. And I know like it seemed like that's what I was doing because I guess like my last 2 relationships were technically rebound relationships. Like I still like it wasn't like made up, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, oh, like I'm just doing this just to get over the last person, because it was always like I always like broke up with the previous person in order to get with that person. So it wasn't like a traditional rebound, but it's just like, dude, the thing about monogamy, bro, and I'm not trying to, and forgive me if I project my experience a little bit, but I just feel like it's very stressful. You know what I mean? Especially post breakup. There's so much you have to do. There's so much I expected of you, especially if you're, again, I'm 20, I'm early to mid 20s. I'm 23. But I feel like a lot of people in, my age range, they're not the most mature, and that can even extend to myself. Like I'm not sucking my own dick, but it can just be so ass, there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of like, oh, like, why aren't you talking to me? Oh, do you actually like me? Oh, do you really think I'm pretty, or are you just saying that? No. At least from what I deal with, maybe I need to stay away from the BPD warriors, but having a roster can be much more efficient. Because the thing is, even if I'm getting after BPD warriors are always normal in the talking stage, always. Like that's really how the rule, like when you're just in a normal situation with them where, things are kind of loose, it's a fluid situation, things are fine, bro. It's when you actually give them commitment, when you actually give them what they want when it's a problem. Like that, just word of advice. But I hope you understand my point. It's like in that aspect of my life, I'm stress-free. However, I'm still busy. Like again, like I have all these different situations with these women, blah, 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 blah. But like at the same time, like my mental isn't being in a relationship, bro, my mental health, boom, 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 plummeting, right? But like having this like roster type situation, which I don't know, have I made the roster video yet? But basically in this, it's keeping me distracted enough. But like if I were to think back on my relationship, it's like, okay, that happened. And, a lot of bad things did take place in there, but I did care for that person, it wasn't all 100% bad. But with that being said, I kind of got this other stuff going on. I have other women, other individuals who intrigue me. And I'd say that's the most important thing about moving on, making sure you can be intrigued by other people. You know what I mean? Just have other people that pique your interest. Now, personally, I probably should put this disclaimer earlier. I've never been broken up with as an adult, right? So, wait, what I'm trying to think as a child. Oh, yeah, in high school a couple times. But, like, as an adult, that's never happened. So, I can't tell you if it's different. But the thing is, I feel like it shouldn't differ that much, your strategy. Because what you want to do is you want to get this person out of your mind as quick as possible, quick, fast, in a hurry. And you do that by getting other people in your mind, okay? Very simple concept, okay? But also, the thing is, yes, moving on is important. But also, I don't know where I was going with that, but moving on is important. Basically, what I was trying to say is, yes, like I'm telling you, yeah, involve yourself with other people, get like some other stuff so you understand that the end all be all is not this person, right? That's the goal of that. But you also have to move on overall. I remember something I did when I broke up with girl number 2 the first time, which was overall ended up being fine, but like it's not good like if my goal was to move on, right? Basically, I would check her social medias, right? Because she would be like, she would post like a bunch of, which we're gonna get to that, like people posting about you or you posting about someone else. She would post about me very frequently. So I would just go to check and see what she said to see if she's saying anything that like I could be angry about or whatever. But also, for one, I want you to think if you're in that situation, why would you do that? Why would you want to make yourself angry? Please don't do that, bro. But also, it's like if you genuinely want to be over this person, they shouldn't have that kind of real estate in your mind. Like they shouldn't occupy enough space for you to go out of your way to see what they're doing, to keep tabs on them, see what they're doing. Like it shouldn't matter what they're saying about you. Now, sometimes those situations get a little more complicated. I'm gonna get into that in a second. The nature of breakups is gonna cause a lot of shit talking. Okay, unfortunately, like there's nothing you can do about it. There's literally no response you can have, nothing you can do to get them to stop. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna have to learn to cope with it. People ask me that all the time. Like people will comment, they're like, "Oh, bro, like I broke up with this girl, and now she's saying this." Da, da, da. Like, bro, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do to help you other than to tell you to let it go. Okay, because you again, you thinking about that, you dwelling on like what they're saying, what they're not saying, what they could be saying. It's only gonna make it harder for you to move on and get past. And I'm telling you this from experience. Like I remember girl number 2, I would be checking her stuff like on the during the bad times, it would be like once a day, but other times than that, like it would be at least like a couple times a week, just being like, "Oh my gosh, did she say something? Did she say something?" Now, a lot of the times she did say something. We'll get to that in a second. But like if you're doing stuff like that, bro, it's gonna be impossible for you to move on like accurately. Also, another important part of moving on is the optics of moving on. So posting about your ex, please don't do that. I beg you. Like for me, it's different because it's my job to tell you stories, and also a lot of times stories help just illustrate the point that I'm making, like especially with a video like this. But if you're posting stuff like, "Oh, I'm so much better off. They fumbled me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I was with that person." Da da da. It makes you look bad because I'm telling you, like, and I've seen it. Like, I always talk about this on TikTok. Like, when I see people make posts like that, I'm like, you're coping. Like, you're coping with the loss of a relationship, especially, bro, if you were the one broken up with. I forgot there was this one post where it was like, "Oh, like he broke up with me, but he didn't have any money anyway," and I'm like, girl, like oftentimes it can just be so transparent that someone's trying to find a way to turn it into a win and they can't. And the thing is, sometimes you take an L and you take an L and that's okay. I mentioned this in the "She Ghosted Me for Sleeping" video. Like you taking an L, it's for everyone from time to time. Something's gonna happen. Okay, something's bound to happen. Someone's bound to not be interested in you anymore. Someone's bound to end things before you get a chance to end things. It's gonna happen. It's fine. Okay, but what you can't do is try to undo it by being like, "Oh, I didn't actually like this person. Oh, I was never really into them, da da da. Oh, I'm actually so glad that they broke up with me, da da da." What you can actually do is move on and at the very least appear unfazed by it. Like if girl number 2, when I ended things with her, if she would have never posted about me while I was dating girl number, like never, like I checked to see like is she talking stuff about me? Because initially I checked to just see if she was alive because there was a whole like I didn't know she was alive at the time because she made an attempt and like I got a message from her mom being like, "Oh, she's in the hospital," so I didn't know she was alive. But like, if she hadn't, like, once I was like checking in and I found out she was alive, if she hadn't been posting about me, and like I just kept checking, being like, "Wait, is she gonna say something about me?" I would be like completely floored. If I'm looking at her socials to see what she says about the breakup, ooh, how's she feeling, where she's at mentally, and she's not saying anything about it, like she's not alluding to me in a positive or negative way, I would truly be like, does she really not care? Has she really just moved on this fast? And I would be like in my head about that. So it's like there's a couple of levels of thinking in which that applies. So it's like one, you as someone who just got broken up with, someone who did the breaking up, don't don't hit the "my ex is lame" posts. Don't do it. I'm telling you. Again, unless that's your job somehow and you're getting paid for it, do not hit those posts. And also, I want you to think if someone's posting about you, positive or negative, particularly if they're posting consistently. Because like I said, I was checking girl number 2, like on at the very least a weekly basis, and I was always seeing something new about me. So it's like if someone's posting about you that frequently, bro, they're not over you. Like it doesn't even matter what they're saying. If they can't go a week without mentioning you for free, like they can't be over you. Like seriously, like think about the people you're over and how much you bring them up in like your day-to-day conversation. Not very much. Like me, like I get a and since my content's like dating content, so like people come up, I get accused of like being like kind of person who talks about my ex a lot. I really don't. Like in my real life, when I'm talking to my friends, like they never come up. But like again, I've talked to women before where they told me that their friends made like a rule where they couldn't bring up my name because they were doing it so much. And it's like you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the person where it's like, "Oh, okay, here's so and so bringing up their ex again," and you have to like plead your case as to why it's okay. So a big part of what I'm saying is, for one, don't make those posts. And two, if you see those posts and they're bothering you, you need to remember, okay, they're not over me. And then take that as a win and then move on. Like that is a W. Like half the time, not even half, I'd say more than half the time, they're doing that because they want you to react to it in some way. They want you to they want you to be checking their socials. They want you to see it and they want you to either get mad or like try to say something to them about it. People always do things like that for reactions. Like I want you to think like the concept of, yes, people want the last word, but they don't actually want the last word. Like, I want you to think about it. Say like you send someone like a long paragraph, like telling them off, like, I hate you, da 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 da. How frequently are you telling them that big paragraph, telling them off, and don't want them to respond? Even in your mind, if at the time you're like, you know what, I don't want them to respond, like this is gonna be the last word, it's gonna be the last thing I say, you're kind of fiending for that response a little bit. Like only a handful of times in my life have I wrote someone like a whole bunch like, oh yeah, like you suck, blah, 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 I hate you, and then block them immediately. Because it's like a lot of times you want to see this person upset, okay? You gotta understand, like you have to, the problem a lot of people do, like when they're like, you know, in these situations, is they're not putting their own human emotions into the other person. So it's like you hear like, oh, this person's like talking shit about you, whatever, and you're not thinking, okay, if I was talking shit about this person, why would I be doing it? You know, like if I was posting consistently, oh my gosh, my ex is so lame. Oh my gosh, dude, I can't believe I was with my ex because da 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 da. It would be because I wanted her to see it and to say something to me. Especially like assuming you're not a content creator and you guys are just like civilians, like come on. Like posting about your ex for free is crazy, insane work. And the thing is, most of the time, what they're saying has no real impact on you. Like when girl number 2 was talking that stuff about me, she had, I don't know, I think there was like a few of her friends that followed me that then unfollowed. But like overall, like me and her friends, it's not like I knew her friends like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not like those were people in my life that like are now affected by this. Like she was telling her circle what she was telling them. But now some of you are in different situations where you run in the same circles. And I do have something for that. Because I don't know if you guys remember my situation with girl number 1, she was from my hometown. Okay, so we actually do know a lot of the same people. Now, something about her is, again, me and her, we had been like on and off for 4 years. For the entire 4 years, anytime me and her weren't talking, she would be talking trash about me on like spam accounts or whatever, you know, to her following. It should just be like, again, whoever's on the spam account, like 50 people. So it was never really that big of a deal. I knew she was doing it. And I remember like, I didn't confront her, but like every one time I spun the block and I was like, yeah, like I knew you were like talking about me. And she was like, what? Yeah, anyways, like that's something that she has always done. And I've had people like message me like, bro, you got to do something about so-and-so because, you know, she keeps talking about you, blah, 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 blah. And mind you, the insane part about all this to me is this was a woman where before we actually dated, me and her had seen each other in person like 4 times. Like, no, legitimately like 4 times over that many years. So like in the first place, that level of investment is just kind of crazy. Then, you know, we dated for a bit, like actually, and then I broke up with her and I chronicled the breakup. I feel like a lot of you remember this if you saw those videos, but by now those videos are a long time ago. So I'm just going to rehash a little bit. Like basically, I think for like 3 months I had been planning the breakup. And I had been like recording parts on my phone, being like, "Oh yeah, like this is how this is what I'm doing today." Da, 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 da. And I ended up posting it after I broke up with her. And I remember she messaged me and she was like, "Bryce, you're evil." And, and she was like, "Was I just a content to you?" And I'm like, "Bro, it was genuinely good content though. The video did really." Because I was thinking, I was like, "Bro, like I feel like we never get like into the minds of someone like while they're breaking up with somebody." So I felt like it was gonna be a good idea. And then apparently at the time, like a lot of people got into her ear, like, "Yo, like you can't just let him do this." Da, da, da. And she posted audio of me like crying. Because the thing is, basically in the video, I mentioned the fact that I had fake cried a bunch of times because the thing is, me and her, we'd get into a lot of fights, right? That was part of the reason I was breaking up with her. So we'd get into a lot of fights. And me like crying was the only way I could get it to stop. So, you know, if we started fighting, you know, I would hit her with a, please, please, please. Like, it was very, very, I was hamming it up for sure. So yeah, but anyways, she heard the part in the video where I said I was faking it. And either she really, I don't know what it was, like she either didn't really believe that I was faking it, which I mean, that is kind of the point. The intention was for it to come off very real. So it's good to know that my fake cry works. But also, I don't know if it was a situation where it's like, oh, like look how manipulative he is, you know, like with this fake cry. So I don't know, but she posted it, right? And I remember I confronted her. I was like, "What's wrong with you?" Because then she was like, "Oh, like you know, like my friends are getting in my head. Like you made the video," and I'm like, "You understand?" I was like, "Me making a video where I'm discussing you. You know what I mean? Where like I'm again like when I talk about like I tell my stories on here, so many people like don't believe me. When I tell that story, I mentioned on TikTok the girl pooping on me, and they were like, "Oh man, I wish this." They were like, "Man, I wish this story was real." And I'm like, "Thank God you think that's not real, to be honest." But anyways, my point is, and I remember I told her this. I was like, "Bro, people think I'm lying with like 90% of the things I say. That's very different from you dropping like actual audio from me." Because the thing is, I'm a big principle guy. I'm like, even though, because again, like I feel like some people would be like, oh, like, if it's fake crying, then why would you care? For one, again, the fake crying, apparently it sounded real. But two, it's the principle. My principle is like, if you thought I was fake crying, you would really expect, like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't upload, like, text messages of her, like, begging for me, or stuff like that. Like, you know why? Because that would be a bit extra. It'd be me doing a bit much. And mind you, again, this is after the breakup. And you have to understand. And like, yes, this video is about moving on, but also the optics are just as important. The optics are extremely important. So it's like after the breakup, if you do something so explosive, like, try to expose the person, you try to, take yourself out the game, which was another thing that happened. It's going to be very hard for not only the people around you, like the people who are witnessing this happen, but also the other person themselves to feel like you're moved on, which I'm not going to lie, the optics of being moved on I think are more important than actually moving on, to be real. Because the concept of like someone, imagine you're completely over your ex, right? And then people are like, nah, you're not over them. That's frustrating, okay? But imagine not being over your ex, like you're thinking about them like, oh man, da, da, da. But then people are like, oh yeah, you're totally over it. That is like what you want. Again, ideally you can be over it and then obviously appear over it optically, but I'm just saying, like, if you had to choose, bro, I feel like people thinking you're not over your ex is like, it's like a crazy form of hell. Basically, yeah. Anyway, you do these explosive things, and then optically, it's going to take a very long, because people are going to remember. Like, if someone broke up with me, right, and I tried to take myself out the game, it would take, and I can't just a week later be like, you know what, I don't really care because I tried to take myself out the game. You know what I mean, bro? I'm texting this young lady. She's so cool. Ah, yes, yes. Oh, sorry, bro. I love. There's something about me. Ah, yes. Yes, bro. Yeah, bro, you don't understand. Bro, she's so cool and she's just like me. Like, when I tell you this, okay, I promise I'm gonna get back to it. But basically, I'm talking to her and like we're just talking about things and we'll just agree on something. Like, literally, because people ask me all the time. I promise I'm gonna get back to it. But people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, like, how do you find women that agree with your views?" And I'm like, "Bro, they're out here." Literally, she was listing my views to me before I even had a chance to say them. Like my dating stances, my whole body count doesn't matter. Stuff, the whole provider man's misogynistic stuff agrees with all of it. Okay, and it wasn't even like I brought it up. Like she mentioned. I'm like, oh my gosh, lovely. Like she just goes so hard. But anyways, okay, back to the topic at hand. Anyways, back to my point. If I were to try to take myself out the game, you would not believe me if a week later, and sometimes probably even a month later, if I was like, oh, like I'm fine, I don't really care. But you know what? Because that was such a big thing for me to do. So it's like if you're getting broken up with or you're doing the breaking up even, you have to keep your composure because that visual that people give you are gonna stick, like based off what you did. Like when I broke up with girl number two, I immediately people I forgot what it was like a week later or it was like on a stream something like that. People immediately were like, "Oh my gosh, bro, you're over it." And was I? Yeah, because like I said, like this videos, but it doesn't take me that long to get over somebody because I do physically and mentally and like romantically move on so fast. So it's like I'm usually fine. But it's like imagine if when the breakup initially happened, I got on here like crying, being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check myself into the hospital because we just broke up." Da da da. A week later, people would be like, "Oh, like, are you okay?" And I'd be like, "Yeah," and they'd be like, "You know what I mean?" So it's like you can't do those big things, right? And that's where girl number one messed up as far as like optically, in my opinion. But then again, we are in the same circles, right? Like we went to the same high school, like so we know a lot of the same people. Come to find out, she like how do I even say this? Oh wait, I gotta give you the full story. Okay, so basically, me and her were still talking a bit after like the official breakup. Like we're just like going back and forth. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, this make me sound even. I would like kind of like troll her randomly. Like I would just say something. I'd say something messed up to her, like just random. I wish I could remember specifically what I would say, but it would be something that was just like kind of like petty. Like I would be talking about girl number two, and I think I would say something like, "Oh, isn't she so pretty?" or something like that. Like to girl number one. Which again, I know that makes me sound evil, but like trust me, dude, I was bad. I did not like her. But anyways, eventually it got to the point where, because again, me and girl number two are about to get into a monogamous relationship. So I'm like, okay, now I gotta officially end things with Shorty. So then I blocked her on everything. I think it was like December I did this. I want you to look at me. I want to tell you, bro. I had someone tell me as recently as last month, maybe, that she's still posting about me. to this day. Like, I want you to think about something that happened in December. And mind you, it was like, I think it was like the beginning of December, because I remember girl number two's birthday was at the beginning of December, and I was there. So yeah, it had to be like very, very early December. But anyway, I want you to imagine something that happened in December and just like think about how long of a time that's been. Like, again, like last month, someone told me. Like, still talking. But that's not even the craziest part, okay? And this next part is something that did actually frustrate me at the time, because again, and I'll explain why. You'll see why. I had a friend tell me, I think it was in like March, that she said she got a restraining order on me. And mind you, and keep in mind, you can look up if someone has a restraining order on them. Like, there's like, I don't know, I forgot what it was called, because I did it on myself. Because for one, if you get a restraining order, they have to like alert you, like, hey, you have like they don't just text it or email, like you get like served in person that you have had a restraining order on. It's like not only that, but there's also like a database where you can look up, and I don't think it's restraining order specific, but you can look up legally if there's something against like a particular name or something. So I put my name into the database, looked it up, no restraining order. And then like, I think it was either a month or 2 months ago, my girl number two, she messaged me. She said she saw in one of my videos that someone commented that I had a restraining order out on me. And I'm like, what? And the thing is, the person who commented that, it was someone like I knew, like someone else from high school. So it was like clearly someone who knows her, blah, blah, blah. So apparently she's going around lying, saying that she has a restraining order on me. For a restraining order for what exactly? I have no idea. Like I told you, blocked her on everything. Broke up with her, never even been to the state since I broke up with her. Like, how do you restrain someone that doesn't want anything to do with you? It makes no sense. And keep in mind, she made this up months later, like months after the fact. Like, how are you that stuck on someone? And, and I hope that's a cautionary tale. Like, if you're out there, like if you're posting about your ex, if you're like making up things about them, you look a little bit insane. I'll tell you what made me mad, because for one, like I very rarely pull the I'm black card, because I used to pull it a lot when I was a child. And I don't know, it was just like teachers would get mad at me. I'm like, oh, is it because I'm black? But then when I got older, I was like, it kind of waters down, the things I actually do deal with. But my thing is, I'm like, you're saying you have a restraining order out on a black man who has never done anything to you, like interpersonally. Like, there's no reason for you to be scared of me in any way. I broke up with you, blocked you on everything, never reached out to you since then. But trying to paint the picture of me as a danger is crazy to me. Like, and I feel like it's very like culturally insensitive. Particularly, it bothers me because, again, that other girl who went to my high school commented about it. And mind you, that girl who went to my high school called me the N-word before, by the way. Like, it's kind of random, but she's one of the, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Because the thing is, me and her were kind of like on good terms. So I never wanted to like do too much like shit talking on social media, like just in case like she saw it or whatever. But now that she's believing that nonsense, I can't say it. Basically, bro, like she would, like, the thing is, she's a white woman, right? But she would call me the N-word like when I think we're probably like 14 or 15, something like that. And I would be upset about it. And then she'd get upset at me for being upset about it. It's like, what am I gonna do? I can't fight her. Like, that's a woman, you know what I mean? But it was there was an era, I forgot what it was. It was before something happened where non-black people were getting too comfortable with the N-word. But anyways, then, the whole 2020 George Floyd thing happened. Now all of a sudden it's power to the people. Okay. Now all of a sudden it's BLM everywhere, ACAB. Oh, let me post my black square. And there was never any sort of actual redemption arc for like, hey, I did call you the N-word. Now, mind you, she may have not remembered, but I remember. Anyways, you get my point over it. Like, I have to deal with this woman who called me the N-word in high school, acting like I'm some villainous, dangerous character. Like, even like, I know some like white people get so mad when I bring up race, but like, you see the racial undertones there, right? And I'm not saying it was like a racist act, but I'm saying it's racially irresponsible. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, so she's telling for one, I didn't know they were like friends or anything like that. So I'm like, bro, she's telling this woman that she got a restraining order on me. Who else is she telling? Now, luckily, I look through like I didn't look through it, but like anytime I see someone from my high school on my IG following, like I always just check, because I'm like, I wonder. But so most of them like still follow me. So I'm like, even people who I thought were friends with her are still following me. So I'm like, okay, I guess it must not be getting out that far. But it is genuinely frustrating, the concept of like, oh my gosh, this person's like lying about me and trying to represent me as some like dangerous person, where it's like, I need to be restrained even though I've avoided you for months. You know what I mean? Like, someone's doing all that, right? And that was something where like at the time I saw it and I was like, even now, like it irks me to like think about. Like, it's like frustrating. But at the time I was so mad, because again, I looked at myself in the database. I'm like, bro, like this is just like complete cap. Like, it's completely made up. And the thing is, I'm not gonna reach out to people from my high school and be like, oh, like can you set the record straight? Like, that's high school shit. Now, most people from high school already hated me, bro. You know what I mean? But that was like something I had to like reconcile with. I had to reconcile with the concept of that. I had to be like, look, I broke up with her. not the most stable person, clearly. So now she's lying, because again, people lie after breakups all the time. Like, again, even girl number two lied after breakup. Now, not always to something of this extreme. And again, she was doing it to people who didn't know me and I didn't know them. So it didn't really matter as much. But people are going to lie after breakups. They're going to talk trash after breakups. And it's because, you know, they're a little, I hate, like, it's so like stereotypical, but like they're hurt, you know? It's like, as annoying as it is for me to think that there are people in Michigan who are getting it painted to them that like I'm someone, again, who needs to be restrained. For one, again, I am in a completely different state. Like, I am like so far divorced, so far removed from those people. You know what I mean? Like, I have to look at it big picture, because one of my fears was always staying around Michigan and being around those high school people and like, not that I have anything against like most people from high school, but like fraternizing with them and never really developing outside that space. So it's like, if that person who's not exhibiting the same growth that I'm growing wants to stay in that area and kind of poison it, you know, for poison my reputation in that area, it's something I just have to live with. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's an important thing, like finding silver linings. Because the thing is, moving on is multiple things. Okay, moving on, you have to move on from the person, right? Like, again, like, get romantically interested in someone else, blah blah. You have to move on, like, from your feelings, but you also have to move on from the situation. And a lot of times, moving on from the situation is a lot harder than just moving on from the person. Like, girl who called me her dad's name, like, there was so much like the girl who called me dad's name, girl number zero. She, I'm sorry, like, there were things she did where I was over her instantly. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was with women who were better than her, but months later, there was stuff where I'm like, oh my gosh, she gaslit me. I'm mad about that. And like, with the whole fake restraining order thing, I could have been mad about that for a long time. Like, I feel like I would be justified in being like, like, again, like, it's still annoying to me, but like, being enraged about it to this day, I feel like that would be absolutely valid. But that rage, what helps me move on personally is understanding that rage doesn't do anything for anybody. Like, me being mad about that, like, genuinely, me being mad about this, what does it do for me? Negative. Like, I'm just feeling bad. And me being mad also, it's most likely what that person wants. They most likely like the fact that you're angry about whatever it was that happened. And also, what's very important is self-work, okay? Transitioning. Because the thing is, I feel like things would be a lot harder for me with multiple breakups. Like, again, because girl number zero was probably, she was definitely, I think, the breakup that I felt the most, even though I did it. Like, I was definitely like more hurt about that situation than I was with like girl number one or two, because I was genuinely a lot more. Because the thing is, girl number zero, a lot of you forget. I mean, it just felt like nice to say that sentence, but like, I actually wanted a relationship with girl number zero. Like, that's been the only person where like, genuinely, I was like, you know, I want to enter a relationship. Like, you know, I would love to be monogamous with this person. It didn't end up happening that way, but like, I don't know if I would say that like I liked her more than them, but like, maybe, oh no, I probably did. I probably did. I probably did. For whatever reason, okay, there were a lot of flaws there that I probably should have, you know, analyzed. But anyways, again, I was down bad about that situation. If I was in the same shoes that I was when that situation happened, I would absolutely feel a lot worse about it. Because if you're like, because say, it's so hard for me to phrase this the right way. Say, in an objective sense, that her not being in my life made my life worse. Girl number zero, right? Which it didn't. It's like, you know, when you miss like when things were good with a person, but like obviously not when things are bad, you know, and then your mind tricks you like, oh, you know, if you can just get like only the good parts, then life would be great. You know what I mean? Like, that happens to people. So if I was in the same spot life-wise, right, and I'm thinking about girl number, like, say I'm still in State College, Pennsylvania, I'm still just, you know, in my shitty little 3-bedroom apartment that I only stay in my room and never use any of the other things. Like, I'm there, you know, I'm making the same amount of money I was making back then, which was not that much. I would feel horrendous, okay? But a lot of things transit. For one, again, I found a partner, partners, again, I wasn't quite monogamous back then. I found partners that were like better, you know what I mean? Like, because again, that was when I was with girl number two, when girl number two was like buying my meals. So I'm like, okay, like, why? Like, bro, I'm definitely not tripping. But then it's like, now, even big picture, I'm in LA, you know, I'm in Los Angeles, you know, I'm in my dream city. And a lot of and again, this goes for all my breakups. Like, a lot of things, like, you don't realize how slow a lot of people move until you're moving fast. Like, I locked in for 3 months when I was in State College, and I was able to move to LA in those 3 months. Like, it happened immediately. But like, girl number zero, what is she doing? I mean, I don't know, but like, what is she doing? Do I have faith that she's like advanced to a place that she wants to advance? Girl number two. Now, girl number two, the first time I broke up with girl number two, she did advance her life. And I don't know if that's what helped me like realize what I had to do, but she did start doing other things. Like when I got back with her, like she told me all the things she was doing, all the things that were going for her. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's a good point. And the thing is, that time I was the one who was kind of not stationary, like, because the thing is, the way content works is like the bigger you go, you make more money. So yeah, I'm making a bit more money, but at that point I wasn't really on YouTube. I wasn't streaming for sure. Like I was kind of stagnant while I was with girl number one, like while I was dating her. So then when I talked to girl number two and I heard about her doing all this, I was like, oh man, that kind of sucked. But then, broke up with girl number one, got with girl number two, and it's like, what's girl number one doing? You know what I mean? Like months later, like making up lies, like still posting that like I'm lame. You know what I mean? Like if that's all someone can do about you, then you're in pretty good shape. But if you're in a situation where all you can do is care about it, then you're in bad shape. But oh yeah, let me finish. Girl number two, I imagine, yeah, it hasn't been that much time. I imagine she's relatively doing the same thing. Maybe not necessarily as far as like talking shit. I just mean like the same thing like with her life as she was before. But like overall, my point is how idiotic would I have to be? How much of an idiot would I have to be to let things like someone talking shit, someone making up lies affect me? You know what I mean? Like someone who's clearly, whether they want my attention, whether they're hurt and like just want some form of like, revenge, they feel like. I moved to my dream city. I'm working a job that's literally like not a job, which is amazing. Thank you all so much. I went from a point where I was in school being like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to finish school. I have this degree that like I have no idea what it does. And, and I have no idea what kind of like even job I would get with it, where I'm like, I don't want to work a job though. I want to do this full time, to the point where fuck school, I'm doing this full time, and it's completely great. And again, this is not me saying that like you're not going to have like a copy paste version of my life, but it's like when you make these advancements and you get to these points where it's like, okay, I am where I want to be. I am doing what I want to do. Why the fuck would I care about what these people are saying? Like, why would I care about a spurned love interest? And again, it's not a perfect system. Like I said, I'm still annoyed by some of those things. But overall, I could never let, like, like I bring it up in conversation and I'm like, it annoys me. But like, I'm not thinking about it in my day to day. Like it's not consuming me. It's not stopping me from doing anything I want to do. I'm at a point where I can talk to other women on the roster and like no one's, I'm trying to think when y'all haven't moved on what that means. Like no one else like pops into my mind. Like I can just like live in the moment. And that's, and what's crazy, I feel like I got to the bottom of why people don't move on. I feel like you have to move on, not only from that person, not only from the situation. You have to move on from that point in your life. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people are attached to. Like people, even if they hate their life, a lot of times they don't want change. So it's like, oh, there's this point in my life, I was living here, I was eating from food from here every day. I was dating this person, and then one of those things gets taken out of the equation and you still want to live in that past, when in reality, you should be growing towards the future. Like there's no doubt in my mind that I can always, every time, unequivocally, find someone romantically better than my exes. They will always be out there. Like nothing in my mind will ever change that. Like that's just an objective reality. Like there's someone always going to be better when I break up with someone. There's going to be someone out there where they're like amazing, right? And if you don't feel that way, it's because you're not used to advancing. You don't advance enough, okay? Like what you do, because again, like I mentioned, in high school, it was hard for me to get over people because I was in high school. I was a fucking high schooler. Like what? Freshman year, sophomore year, junior year. I'm essentially doing the same shit. But it got a lot easier for me when I went to college, and I'm like, oh, a lot of these exes, a lot of these people that like I was very worried about, they either didn't go to college or they're going to like a worse college than me, which, I'm not saying you have to like shit on people like that. But my point is, even subconsciously, it's like, okay, if I start doing better in my life, there's not anything an ex can do to make me concerned. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go like back and forth, like in a petty off with like an ex, because what do I gain from that? You know what I mean? Like I legitimately have so many better things to do and people to do. Get it? Relations. And it's just, I feel like once you understand that you have better things to do, and like, again, this is not me, like a lot of people are like, oh, you got to swear off relationships, focus on yourself. This is not telling me to focus on yourself. It's me telling you to advance yourself. Okay, be better than you were. It's the same way when I tell you like fumbling is not possible. Fumbling is not possible if you become a better version of yourself since that incident. So it's like, yeah, I told you that one girl freshman year of college fumbled because I started talking to one of her friends. But then it's like, now I'm at a point where me and her are still mutuals, like on social media. I'll see her and I'm like, I'm kind of up. I kind of don't need that, bro. And then of course, when you advance yourself, the people you're with are advanced. You know what I mean? And also, it's corny, but every relationship there is a lesson in it. Okay. Um, Wait, I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm trying to think of lessons from girl number zero. Girl number zero is learning how to let things go. Like understanding, like something like a traumatic event, like someone being like, "Oh, I'm acting like this because this event." This sounds very like nuanced. This sounds very like specific. But like, if someone's like, "Oh, like I'm acting like this because of this event," don't take them at that. And also, another thing I learned from that: do not be in a relationship or in a situation with somebody thinking of, "Oh my gosh, I need it to go back to how it was," because it won't. It will sometimes, okay, but that's the exception. You know what I mean? Like if someone's actively disrespecting you, right, and you're like, okay, eventually they'll go back to when they were nice and they're very respectful. Chances are they won't, because again, if you're not actually punishing them for that, like if you're not showing no punishment for like, oh my gosh, you can't disrespect me and I'm not going to stick around if you do, then they literally have no incentive to stop, right? Like what you think they're going to stop because they don't want to hurt your feelings anymore? If that was the case, they wouldn't have been rude in the first place, But anyways, that's what I learned from girl number zero. That was long-winded, I know. Girl number one is what I learned from that is I need someone with intelligence on any level, for real. And also, and I've seen women say this, and like when I tell you, when they say it, I'm like I just feel so seen. Never get with a person who's wanted you for way longer than you wanted them. They will try to they'll hold that against you the entire time. And what I learned with girl number two, crazy is crazy. And some people will try to blame you for them being a little bit crazy. It is not your fault. Their actions are their own. So like those situations where it's like, oh man, like, cause I remember she would tell me all the time, she'd be like, hey, if we were monogamous, I wouldn't act like this. We went monogamous. She acted like it. she did all the things. You know what I mean? And you can't save these people, right? Like they're not. I'm not. It kind of sounds like a little bit grim, but like you can't save these people, right? Literally, girl number one was telling me, she was like, I wake up every day and compare myself to girl number two, and I'm like. What, like, cause in the time I was just like, you don't have to do that. And the thing is, I'm right. Like, she doesn't have to do that. Right. And the thing is, if she's going to decide to do that, I can't hold myself accountable for that. Like, cause again, like when people are suffering, right. And like girl number two did that too. Like she would just be like, oh my gosh, like like anytime, like you're not talking to me, I just think you're with someone else. Like if people are putting those thoughts in their head, I'm handsome. If those people are putting those thoughts in their head, there's nothing you can do because it's their thoughts. And they're going to try to blame you every time. They're like, oh, if you didn't do this, then da 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 da. No, it's their mind, it's their thoughts. Same way you can't blame your thoughts on them. You know what I mean? Like if you're feeling a bit insecure, if you're feeling a bit, rough over something, you can't put that on them. You know what I mean? Unless, again, a situation where, they acted out, but like, say they act out, you confront them, they apologize. You can't keep holding that against them just because their apology wasn't enough for you, unless it was genuinely an ingenuine apology. I mean, like the point I'm making basically is like, if I, like, again, the situation where it's like, oh, like anytime you're not talking to me, I think you're with someone else. There's no solution there. You know what I mean? And yeah, if you're worried because while we were in a talking stage, I used to talk to other people. I can clear that up for you a couple times, but like weeks, months down the line, I can't keep doing that for you. Just like if that's you, you can't do that for them. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people just have problems and they're going to have to work through that themselves. Okay. And I feel like a lot of people, like me personally, I'm very like self-critical in those situations. I'm always like, okay, is it something I'm doing? Like, am I doing something? Like I'm narcissistic, but like in those situations, I'm like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Because it's like I have to go out of my way to offset my narcissism. But a lot of the time, it's not your fault. Okay, it's these people. They have problems. These people have problems and they have to solve it themselves, truly. So it's like if you're looking back on a relationship being like, oh, what could have been different? It couldn't have been different. If it could have been different, it would have been different. So there's no, again, some people think it was grim. Some people might think it was nihilistic. Bro, some things just don't work. Some things don't work. Some people are crazy. People are going to act out after a breakup. That's what most people are going to do. Like that's just what happens. As soon as you accept those things, okay, you accept the fact, okay, this relationship is over. Okay, I accept, if they're the kind of person that talks shit about me, they're going to be talking shit about me. Okay, whatever. But also accept the positive facts of I can and will find someone better than this. Like it's very easy. And also accept, okay, this point in my life is no more. Like this like era, it has come to a close. I need to advance, because a lot of the depression that comes post breakup, I feel like, is if you stay in that same era, if the next era is adjacent to the previous one. That's why you feel so stuck, because you're not moving. And I think that's my biggest point of the video. You need to accept when you need to move. Okay, like, and again, move in multiple aspects. I mean, sometimes even physically move, like go to the gym, and not in like a corny, like, oh yeah, get buff to get through the pain, but just do things, keep yourself busy. Again, like move, talk to other people, stuff like that, right? That's what will truly help you. Okay, but now, yeah, no, I think I'm wrapping up this video right now, bro. It took me days to record this, dude. I've been getting so sick. I've had to work on my health like a lot. So yeah, I'm hoping to be a bit more consistent once I get my health under control, and and that's gonna be great. But anyways, I don't want to give too much state of affairs, because again, I feel like when I give too much state of affairs, it leads to me like going on a really long break. But thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, everything I have to say. I'm so sorry, and I love you. Okay, have a great day, night, evening, morning.